Is Action Hero just a knockoff of the beloved game Superhot VR that you should skip, or is it a worthy new fresh take of the tried and true bullet time shooter concept that you should play? Welcome to another episode of Play or Skip on GameList Plus. I'm Josh, and today I'm reviewing Action Hero on Quest 3. I played and beat Action Hero to bring you my review. Now, to say that I was very skeptical about this game when I heard about its release is an understatement. I really wasn't sure what to expect since the game isn't made by the original creators of Superhot VR, but let's get into it. As usual, I will go over the different aspects of the game, giving each a rating between 1 and 10, 10 being flawless. I'll give an overall score and the verdict of whether or not you should play or skip the game. Before we start, I just want to thank Meta for making this video possible and gifting me this Meta Quest 3 512GB model, which I obviously love, as you can see from all my content. It truly is the best all-around VR headset in my opinion, with the most easily accessible way to jump into VR for the masses. Even though I am doing this advertisement for Quest 3, these are 100% my true opinions on how I feel about Action Hero. Since I am now an affiliate, when you buy a Quest 3 headset or you decide to buy Action Hero or Superhot VR or anything else for that matter, through my affiliate links, you'll actually be helping GameList Plus directly at no additional cost to you. So let's get started. First, what is Action Hero? Action Hero is what they call a bullet time shooter, popularized by the incredibly awesome game Superhot VR, which was released all the way back in 2016 for PC VR, then eventually on Quest 2 in 2020. These games are not first-person shooters in the traditional sense. Instead, you just stay in one area and fend off enemies with unique time-bending mechanics. The bad guys that are attacking you only move when you move, so the core mechanic is time manipulation, where time slows down when you're still and moves normally when you move. So it's very much a sort of learn-as-you-go repetition game that ultimately makes you feel a lot like John Wick as you get faster and faster, dodging bullets and blasting away the bad guys with guns and other weapons. The game is a series of 5 action movies, starting with The Forbidden Treasure, which is like an Indiana Jones-style treasure hunter film, a heist film called Silent Steel, a martial arts film called Fists of Ash, a Matrix-like sci-fi noir called The Code, and finally an all-out action bonanza called 101 Vengeances. So how is it? First, I'll talk about the graphics. The graphics in Action Hero, while not mind-blowing or incredibly detailed, really do the trick in terms of what it is. Yes, it'd be great if the details were a little bit more polished and that they made the game a little bit more realistic, I suppose, but for what the game is, it still feels like a big upgrade from playing a game like Superhot, because this does feel very much like a spiritual successor. So for me, playing this game feels like a huge jump graphically, but that's really because it's just so colorful. In reality though, what the Quest 3 is capable of doing is far beyond what this game does. Action Hero's graphics do leave a bit to be desired, sadly. As you can see here with the close-ups of this raptor's skin, the textures just aren't all that detailed. But then when I look at scenes like this with the detailed sky, moon, and clouds when you're kind of further back, the combination of all of it together works really well for me. Objectively speaking though, these graphics aren't what they could be and are a bit on the basic side. They really aren't a massive jump from the likes of Superhot VR, which at this point came out 8 years ago. And although I am not bothered by the lack of detail or lighting effects in this game personally, the developer could definitely have juiced this game up a bit with higher graphical settings, with higher fidelity, lighting, and more detailed explosions, etc. The Quest 3 is simply capable of so much more, so I can only give the graphics in this game a 6. If you are enjoying this video, this is the perfect time for you to hit that like button. It really does help my channel a lot, and also don't forget to hit subscribe so you can see all my upcoming videos. Next, I'll talk about the gameplay. The gameplay in Action Hero is most definitely the most important thing about it, and truthfully, it really is great. Ultimately, I am making a comparison of this game to Superhot VR because it's just the standard that I have in my mind. Superhot VR still reigns supreme as the best bullet time action game between the two, but you know, Action Hero really does do an awesome job of capturing the essence of how this style of gameplay works, and it executes it with a ton of humor and an excellent level of challenge. The big key to getting past each stage of this game is to stay still as you possibly can and plan according to the bullets that are flying at you, which directions they're coming from, and whatever the attacking bad guys are going to do next. All of that is coupled with planning where your gunshots will hit ahead of when someone lands in the line of fire. It really gives it an almost action puzzle kind of a feel, which again is what made Superhot so much fun. Action Hero pulls this off brilliantly as you go movie to movie, scene to scene, with the voice of the director comedically blabbing in your ear the whole time. It's really interesting because roguelite games have become such a popular style of gameplay since Superhot VR came out a few years ago, and while this is not a roguelite game, the fact that you restart and learn from your mistakes is similar in that sense. One of the most fun fun things about this game is the ridiculous humor involved and the fun ways that you can kill off the bad guys, including them being hit by each other, or explosions, or triggering one explosion to cause a chain reaction. It really is a blast. Something that did sort of frustrate me in this game though, were moments where nothing is happening and you want time to progress, but it takes too long. I'll find myself just rolling my hands like this, trying to get the time to go past so that the next thing will happen. And the frustrating part is that rolling motion helps to get things to progress, but then after you complete that part, you could just get killed immediately because something else will happen too fast. It's not really a major complaint, as the game is built on planning your next move, but sometimes it just felt a little bit imbalanced. Again, making the comparison, there are far fewer moments with that kind of speed variance to cause frustration in Superhot VR. Action Hero is incredibly challenging, but you can change things up dramatically to make it a little bit easier on yourself if you so desire. Simply switch it up in the settings. If you fail a lot of times on a stage and you have the setting on, you'll be offered a golden gun that allows you to use unlimited ammo to take out as many bad guys as you need to. But doing so will make each of those kills scoreless. You can also change the amount of times you're hit before you die and have to restart from 3 to infinity and just get hit as much as you want. You can change the speed of the bullets to slow it down from 100% down to 90, 75, or 50%, which makes the gameplay slow down quite a bit. You can also increase the ammo in your weapons. You can add a laser sight if you need some help hitting the guys in the right spot. All of these are options to make your gameplay a little less difficult. I just left it all on in the settings that were originally there and found all of these things later on after I'd already beat the game, which I'm glad, because I would have been very tempted to use them. Another interesting factor of the gameplay is that it can be quite a workout, especially if you leave it on the more difficult settings. If you're slow and deliberate enough, it is possible to not exert yourself too much physically in this game, but I tend to enjoy the feeling of going fast once I've learned what the proper movements are for each stage. But so it does become somewhat exhausting if you are literally ducking, dodging, and getting down all the way to the floor to get out of the way of gunfire, which I did a lot. It also makes you feel a little bit like a badass when you're moving quickly and eliminating your enemies back to back to back. The fun factor of all of this really does make the gameplay excellent. It really made me just want to keep playing and playing. It's one of those games where I am very thankful that I have a backup battery on my head strap. Overall, while the gameplay is not as tight and brilliantly executed as it is in Superhot VR, Action Hero's gameplay still manages to be some of the most fun you can have in VR. So I give the gameplay in Action Hero a solid 9. Next, I'll talk about the audio. The audio in Action Hero is solid all around, from explosions, sound effects, bad guys dying, to the voice of the director in your ear from the beginning to the end of the game. You can choose between a male or female voice. I had it on the male voice for a good chunk of the beginning, and then I just wanted to switch it up, so I went between the two as I progressed. You definitely hear it a lot if you restart stages a lot, which inevitably you will have to, but thankfully the voice acting is solid and funny. And all around, the audio is very well executed and fits in with the gameplay like it should. I give the audio in Action Hero an 8. Next, I'll talk about Immersion. Action Hero's immersion factor is truly one of the strongest elements of the game. When I put the headset on and start playing, I really do feel like I forget about the world around me, in an almost dangerous way, truthfully. I smacked my arm on the wall at one point and my shin on the coffee table at another. It's been a while since I've had that happen in any VR experience, but when you're so focused on the bullets and enemies coming at you, the only thing that you're thinking about is getting out of the way and getting that next kill. Action Hero manages to take you into the VR space and wrap you up in it, unlike most games can accomplish. Action Hero truly pulled me in and would not let go. I definitely have to give the immersion in Action Hero a 9. And finally, let's talk about the replay value. Once you've completed the main campaign of the 5 movies, each of which is sectioned off into checkpoint-like different chapters, you can replay all of them in what's like a New Game Plus that's just built into the game in the form of director's cuts. Each of the director's cuts of the movies are a bit more challenging, with enemies having body armor, more raptors, and some differences in the ways that you are attacked. There's also a coming soon section listed under the 2 main modes in the game, saying that there are additional movies coming in the future. I hope that they are included. They're not like paid DLC. I feel like they should just include them since it says that. Not to mention, there are weekly challenges that you can play, posting your score versus other people online. Plus, there are hidden coffee cups on every level that you can collect, giving you a lot more challenge to get through once you've done the initial playthrough of the game. The way that they managed to pull together additional content like that in the game really does give it a better replay value than that of a lot of VR games. All that aside, the fact is, ultimately with this kind of game, you're going to know where everything is and where to shoot, so even if you play and play, you will eventually get tired of it. But it is oh so much fun getting to that point. I give the replay value in Action Hero a 7. So what is the verdict? Action Hero is a sort of unexpected spiritual successor to Superhot VR, and while not quite as brilliant in all aspects, it is a fantastic use of VR bullet time action. Slicing bullets in half with a samurai sword, then using your gun to shoot an explosive barrel to cause a chain reaction that wins you the stage just as bullets whiz by your face is just a joy to experience. If you're trying to convince a gamer of why you like VR so much and how it offers gameplay that goes beyond that of what you can experience on a flat screen, this is a great starting point to show them what it's all about. Overall, I give Action Hero an 8 out of 10. So should you play or skip the game? While it has some minor flaws, all around this is the kind of game that made me fall in love with VR in the first place. You should definitely play Action Hero. But that is just what I think. What do you think? Have you played Superhot VR? What makes a VR game truly better than a flat screen game for you? Is there a specific game that you'd like to see me do a player skip review for? Let's talk about it in the comments below. And while you're here, why don't you check out my 10 must-play mixed reality games right here. That is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to all my loyal subscribers. You guys are awesome. I'll see you soon on GameList Plus.
I guess that'll do.